Well, thank you guys for coming out. It turned out to be a beautiful day. Around midnight, it's supposed to storm and be crazy. All this weather's gonna blow in, but hopefully we'll all be bunkered down, safe in bed. Real quick, we just want to give a shout out and say thank you to Sherry. She's the lady who runs this place and opens it up to us every Thursday to come hang out. We've worked with her a lot over the past couple months, and we're excited to continue to work with her. If you have a birthday party or a wedding or, I don't know, anything really, this is a great place to host an event. And so, yeah, check it out.
Yeah, we just want to thank, too, our Catalyst crew for helping us put this all together. These guys have been helping us dream up and vision cast with us. They help set everything up, and so you guys are amazing, and without you guys, this really honestly would not happen. So if you see anybody with a name badge on like this, just, tell them a thank you. They put everything together for us tonight, and we're really grateful for them. So
yeah, quick update, coffee, sandwiches, bathrooms are all going to be inside the old house. So help yourself. Grab some chips, grab some coffee, and come hang out. At this point, we'd like to kick it off. We love to tell stories. We really think that Catalyst and After Hours and everything that we do is a great place for stories to overlap. We each are writing a story, and we feel like when we all come together, we can write a more impactful, more important story all together. And so I'd like to call up Aaron. Real quick, I get to brag. This is my wife, Caitlin. And I went on what I call a mission trip to Dallas to recruit her to come back here with me. I moved up there for 9 months, and in the end, it all worked out. While I was up there, I got to work with students in the church where she was serving, and Aaron was one of those students. That was a long time ago. You were shorter, thinner, and less hairy. Yeah. But I recognized from the get-go this kid had a heart to serve and a heart to make a difference, and you guys will see that today. So,
thanks, man. I love you guys.
You. That one doesn't want to go.
So yeah, as Zach said, my name is Aaron, and I grew up in North Dallas, Plano, Texas, and really rough childhood, a lot of mentally abusive aspects present, and my dad was very verbally abusive as well, and it was really hard. And so it's the wind and the devil. But so growing up, I was really into football, really into sports, really into just doing a lot of extracurricular activities. And so kind of early high school, I met Zach, I met Caitlin. Caitlin's older brother was actually my youth pastor. And I was part of a really good community, and I was really growing up, regardless of all the cruddy stuff I was going through at home and at school. But towards the end of high school, my dad and my mom split up, and I got hurt, and I couldn't play football anymore. And my church was, I guess the youth group was getting smaller, and I isolated myself, and I pulled myself away, and I was just scared of messing up. I was scared of failing. I was scared of just finally realizing that, like, I was going to turn into the same angry person that my dad was, that my family always was going to produce. And so I just fell into depression, drinking, fell into just being a really crappy person. But I moved here after Zach and Caitlin invited me to come down and visit. And I was like, nah, I'm the party guy. It's going to be really fun. I'm just going to go hang out at Sam Houston, play football again, and do this, do that. The next thing you know, I'm sitting on Zach's couch, bawling my eyes out. And I had an urge, a tug to come here and start hanging out with high school students and help them not be a part of what I was a part of. And if they were in it, I was going to, whatever I needed to do, physically rip them away or whatever it is, or love on them. And so, I got it. I did that, and the past couple of years I've grown in creativity, I've grown in leadership, I've grown in just different ways of communicating the gospel, the friendship, whatever they needed to hear at that moment. I wanted to be that person in their life, not because it was some prideful thing, but because that's what we're supposed to do. So out of that, I started writing a lot of poems, and this is one of the poems, and it's called Failing. Quick transition, so just enjoy, please. I am drained. I am stained. I am dirty and I am hurting. So pour me another glass of that Riesling to celebrate all of my failure-ing. Failure, like that rhyme scheme, was sort of like a success or a win, but the upside down version. It's like when the doctor makes an insertion with the scalpel into the wrong part of the patient's heart. Oh wait, oops, or is that an incision cutting into my vision, my scope of view for the future? Oh doctor, please set me a suture. Fix me up, patch me up, send me back out to the mission field, no, the battlefield, so I can see the wounds that it will yield. Don't worry, Doc, I'll see you soon. I'll be back in the office again next Monday at noon. On the dot, mark your calendar, set it as a weekly appointment. I think that when they picked me to a point, they meant that I was one of the few that would commit to this losing battle. That I was dumb enough to stand in line and be slaughtered like fresh cattle. That I would squirm and squeal like swine, but just enough as to where I wouldn't undo the knot of this vine, digging into my skin and veins, that I wouldn't choose to break free from my refrains, that I was docile enough to let this tumor grow into something more than just a blister. So please heed my warning, brothers and sisters. We're fighting a war that's not meant to be won. Does it even matter if we could save just one? If the ship was always going to sink and drown, then holding on to a life vest on shore and before doesn't keep the ship from going down. And if we're going to lose in the end, then what's the point? Don't call me on my apathy, because frankly I'm tired of all of you and your sapathy, walking around sucking on everyone's feelings and excrements, while I watch all of you perform your prideful, unholy sacraments, because no matter how much you dress up feces, at the end of the day it's still a waste. A waste of space in this earth-stealing air that I could breathe. And your existence expedites the reversal of my reprieve. If this is the world I'm forced to co-inhabit, then make it Sunday so I can break free from my broken Sabbath. Because if this is what one failure looks like, I don't know if I can handle an entire lifetime of them. A lifetime that I've already been chosen to live. A lifetime of letting my friends down again. A lifetime of letting everyone down that I love. They're called my kin. A lifetime of letting him down, that's called my sin. So please just drop the act and stop the attack. Just let me fade back into black. A place that I've always pitched my tent, but always watched it get blown down instead of repent. Me sitting next to a pile of ripped cloth and broken sticks. Sitting under a starless sky being bitten by ticks. There's no rain falling, not yet, no running streams, and my tears fall like life from these leafless trees. And oh, could you believe this empty winter started from one little thing, my life's single biggest insecurity, fail in.
That was really awesome. Good job, Aaron. It's my turn now. I'm just kidding. No, I am not gifted in that area. And I've seen Aaron since he was in 7th grade, known him since he was in 7th grade. And to see the man that he has become, it is amazing. He's come so far and he's grown so much. And so thank you, Aaron, for sharing that. Now, Zach and I are going to share just a little bit about our story and how we got plugged into Catalyst, and with Joe, and honestly how I got plugged in with Zach too, because he's all a part of this as well. But so I am from Plano, Texas. I moved here about 6 years ago. Moving to Austin and being a part of this was nowhere on the agenda or the plan. And I'm really glad that all my plans got screwed up, because since then I've come down here, I've got to marry an awesome man of God, and been a part of this amazing organization for a while. And so I want to tell the other side of the story about the other side that he's actually going to tell. So we were sitting in Dallas one night. My brother was in a band and he was playing downtown at a show. And Zach got this phone call, and we were at dinner, and Zach and I were still kind of fresh dating, so he was still trying to make an impression on my parents. So it was me, my mom, and my really good friend at the time. We were getting ready to order our food, and Zach said, "Hey, I have to slip out real quick." I said, "Okay, no problem. We'll see you in just a second." 2 hours later, and he's still on the phone. And my mom was like, "Caitlin, like, did he just leave?" And I'm like, I don't know where he's at. So he comes back in, and, you know, of course, like women, I think you guys can understand with me, I'm sitting there like fuming, like what could have been so important that you've been gone for 2 hours. But he comes back and he's like, "I'm so excited, like I just got like one of the best phone calls, we'll have to talk later." And I said, "Cool." But after that, he got to share the vision that Joe got to pitch to him, and I am going to actually give it over to you, because then I'll tell my story after that.
Sweet. All right, I hope you guys have like 2 hours because we'll just break it all down. No, so I'd moved up to Dallas for a winter semester, which is like a 2-week crash course in college. And that was my goal. We were just going to stay up there for 2 weeks. I was going to come back home. Well, I ended up getting distracted, and we ended up staying up there a little bit longer, 9 months in total. And this was right towards the end of those 9 months. And we were standing outside of the show, and Joe called me. He was like, "Hey, dude, what do you want to do with your life?" And at that point, I had like bits and pieces, but I really had no clue what I wanted to do with my life. At that point, I'd figured out a lot of things that I didn't want to do. I had worked in food and beverage in the corporate arena. I had bounced around from community college to community college and tried a couple different degrees. I was going to be an RTF major, a business major, a marketing major. Then I decided maybe school's just not for me. So I dropped the business thing. Well, when Joe called me, he found me like right in the middle of all that uncertainty. And with a clear vision, he said, "Hey dude, look, you're thinking about going back to school. You're wrestling with what you want to do. Why don't you just come back here? I have this crazy idea. We can figure it out together." At that point, I had been wrestling with going to school to work in nonprofit. I wanted to run or start or create a nonprofit. He said, while you go to school for it, why don't we actually like push the pedal to the metal and make it happen? Let's actually pilot and take everything that you're learning and put it into practice. And so that was 6 years ago, and that's when we started Catalyst. Yeah, and it's been a blur. It's been a crazy ride ever since. It's been a live music venue. It's been prayer nights. It's been programs in the schools. It's been countless teen stories and countless young adult stories. I have a ton of stories of just how my life's been personally changed. It's awesome to look out and look into some of the, just the people in the audience and know where they were at and where they're at now, and just to be able to walk with them along that story. Yeah.
Yeah, and since then it's been awesome. I was unsure on whether or not I was going to move down because I had plans to go to school, Southwestern up near Dallas, and the idea of moving to Austin totally frightened me. I was the youngest of 3. Our family sticks together. I was definitely a mama and daddy's girl, and so me deciding to uproot everything, move to Austin with $35 to my name was kind of a scary thought. And my parents thought so too. But since then I wanted to go to school and I wanted to go for counseling, but I didn't want to do it in the norm of how that looked like, of going to school, wasting 4 years, not wasting because you are getting trained up and getting great education, but I wanted to be doing while I was training. I wanted to be doing something than just sitting away in a classroom day after day with my time. And man, since moving here, it has been awesome because Catalyst has given me nothing but opportunities to actually put into practice the very things that I'm learning to do in school. And sometimes, honestly, I feel like my world experiences through Catalyst and conversations with teens and young adults has actually given me more experience and more training than any classroom ever could. And so I just want to say, from my testimony on it, I just want to thank Joe for letting me be a part of this as well, because it has definitely equipped me for what I'm going to be able to do alongside with my education. I think education is important, but man, working here has done nothing but just blow my mind. I've met so many incredible young adults. I've met my husband ultimately through this organization and through Joe and Mona, Joe's wife, and so I just want to say thank you. It's been an awesome ride. And with that, I'll let Zach introduce our next speaker. He's pretty awesome.
Yeah, not only did we get married because of Joe and Catalyst, but like we stay married because of Joe and Catalyst. Like, it's a good thing. I think we're all wired for community. I have a heartbeat for community, and so at Equinox and After Hours, that's what we look to craft. And so I'm thankful for everyone here tonight because you guys are all extended members of the community. It really does take everybody here coming together with their gifts and passions to really make a difference, especially in the way that Joe draws up these crazy visions. So one example of that, are we going to Miguel?
We can wait, keep him break, sweat in the back somewhere.
Okay. We'll go to Joe first.
Yeah.
But yeah. We'll pass it off. So since that first 2-hour phone call, we probably talked on the phone for 2 hours in total ever since. Yeah, you're a talker.
Yeah. The problem is he doesn't answer his phone, so you have to text him. And I know he reads the text, but he still doesn't text me back.
Hashtag millennials.
Yeah, millennials. Thank you guys. Thank you. I couldn't do it without them. These two are amazing. Yeah, they've been there since day one. So here's the deal. I'm going to get right into what is it that we do, what's our vision, mission, explain and break down some of these programs. You're actually sitting in one of them right now called Equinox, and I'll get to that in a minute. We had this super awesome video, powerful, it's got shots of the program in it, testimonies, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, we couldn't get it to work. So I'll just email it to you, and you can watch it, and you can cry at home, at your desk, or wherever. So here's the deal. Ultimately, what we wanted to create with Catalyst was an environment that could really focus on three things, and that was identity, purpose, and belonging. Because when we looked at this generation, we started as a church, a youth ministry, college ministry, we said, why aren't people coming to church? Why aren't young people coming? And what's going on? And when we started to look in the city, we found that over 90% of teens and young adults were no longer attending church. And from a church perspective, we were like, man, do we smell, or what's the deal? And there was a lot of things that were going on. It wasn't until we started to understand what's happening in our culture that we had those aha moments, right? I get it. And so let's take a look at that for a minute. First of all, we got two generations at play here. Millennials, and that's typically your 35 and under crowd up till, I guess, 18. Your 18 and under crowd is Generation Z. And so you have two generations here that have been struggling in ways that other generations haven't. First of all, Generation Z represents our first true digitally native generation. They grew up with iPhones and cell phones. That's not going away anytime soon. So we're talking a lot about technology and its impact. It's only going to escalate and increase. So if you drive down 183 and you see this sign for Typhoon, Texas that says FOMO, and you're wondering, what is FOMO? Fear of missing out. That's a thing that was created as a side effect of technology, of young people being able to scroll through phones and see everybody's so-called perfect life, and, oh, look, so-and-so are having fun, they look cute, they're going out, how come I wasn't invited? Fear of missing out. It's a real thing. It actually leads to a lot of anxiety in young people today, which for my generation, Gen X and above, we think is kind of ridiculous. We don't understand the kind of social pressure that puts on young people, but that's just one small example. You couple that with the fact that they're not going to church, so that's no longer a factor in their life. Most come from single-parent homes. If they do have two parents in the home, both are working because it's a dual-income society, and parents just have less time. This isn't the 80s. It's not the 70s. It's not the 60s. There's not time. And so you're seeing a generation that's looking around saying, okay, my schools are overcrowded. I don't get attention from the teachers. Nobody sits down with high school counselors because they're really only there to help you make sure your classes are straight. There's no church factor there. Most people, only 3% of teens and young adults claim they actually have a mentor. Someone in their life consistently directing them, helping them, navigating their life for them, right? And so you're looking at all these pressures mounting up, and then you're looking on top of that, this big distrust of anything that's authoritative. Why? Because anything authoritative has failed them. They've all come from failed marriages in their families, right? One of the biggest stressors that teens will say today is that the biggest stress of my life behind schools is having to get along with step siblings. And it's not the step siblings, it's the second pair or third pair of step siblings, because mom and dad don't really get married anymore, right? They just move in and they bring their other kids into the mix, and when that doesn't work out, they move out, and then the new squad moves in, and the tension that's America today. That's what's happening, and it's all these tensions are floating. And when they look at TV and they see police beatings and politicians that keep somehow getting worse, I don't understand it, but it's possible, right? You know, they look at this and say, anything that says it's an authority has failed me in my life. Pastors are in the news for scandals, for sleeping with students. We just had, another one, in Round Rock. It's happening all over the place. You know, we look at it from the teacher's perspective. There's been at least 4 or 5 accounts this year alone of teachers in the news of having inappropriate relationships with students. Everything that sets itself up as a form of authority has failed them, which makes a generation wonder, what can I trust? And here's what they trust. They trust what they experience. Not what you tell them, what they experience for themselves. So full circle back to Catalyst. We knew 6 years ago that we could no longer invite people into a church building and ask them to trust us. That simply was not going to work. We needed to create safe environments, neutral environments, where people could come and engage, get the attention they need, discover who they are, why they're here, and where they belong. Identity, purpose, and belonging. And the way we started to do that was free classes. We opened up free classes. We called it the Academy of Awesome. We still do some of those today in our after hours program, and we're looking to expand it. And basically all that did was give students an opportunity to explore a gift or passion that they had never had an opportunity to do. Anything from karate to art to archery to surviving the zombie apocalypse to speaking Japanese to playing musical instruments to coding. It was all over the board. Cooking. Students started to come. Pretty soon, our little 20-person youth group had connected with over 1,000 teens and young adults within 18 months. It was unreal. It was unreal. And then we got a knock at the door. Something that a church would never expect. A public school asking for help. And that's what happened. School said, hey, listen, we heard about what you guys are doing, and we need help. We've got 100 kids every day outside in the parking lot doing drugs. There's fights breaking out. Police are constantly involved. We don't know what to do. Can you guys come and provide something? They gave us their cafeteria. And for those of you who know the story, if some of you don't, I'll tell you what happened from there. We thought, there's no way we're going to get high school kids to stay in their cafeteria after school. It's just not going to happen. So we did our best, and we created this innovative mobile teen center with games, with stuff on the video games on the wall. We brought in coffee, bean bags, mentors, tutors. You know, we just try to make it as cool as possible. And we had, in 2,500 kids in this school, we had like 30 people there the first day. Everybody was looking in through the window like, what is this? And they kept walking. And then the next week, we had like 40. And then we had like 50. And then we had 70. And then we had 90. A year into the program, we were averaging over 100. Right? By the end of the second year, over 17% of the entire school was coming through the program. We thought that was an anomaly until we opened up at Hopewell Middle School last month with the help of Williamson County Juvenile Services. And on the first day of the program, 10% of the entire school was there. It was 100 kids packed in this cafeteria. And you know, the more things change, the more they stay the same. You know what they needed? Identity, purpose, belonging. Someone to step into their life and say, here's who you are. Here's who you're uniquely made to be. Here's why it matters. Here's where you belong. And if we can create environments like that, that's the game changer. That's the game changer. And so we did that with After Hours. And I'm going to pause for a minute, because we don't have this video up, but I do have one of our students who really embraced this environment from the very get-go at McNeil High School. Miguel, would you come up here real quick, man? He's sweating bullets. Everybody give him some applause, courage. So here, man, I'm just gonna give you the mic. You gotta kind of hold it close because there's a lot of wind and background. But just real quick, just tell us about your experience with the program, you know, what it's meant to you, what you've seen it mean for others, and, you know, whatever else you want to say, man.
Hi, my name is Miguel. I'm a student at McNeil. After Hours is a great place for students to just go and literally find their passion or whatever it is that they like to do, that it doesn't involve anything bad, nothing illegal or anything, and it's a great place. It's a great place. I used to be that nerdy kid, like on his Xbox in his room, you know, like that. And but at the same time, I would just be making music as well. But no one has ever heard my music or anything. And then one day, like, I'm looking through the cafeteria, I'm like, what is this? Exactly what he said. Like, what is going on over here? And so then I went to go talk to Zach, the leader. They were like, so hey, who's in charge of this thing, like right here? And it was like, Zach is over there. And then I was like, you know, bro, this like, they were playing like some music, wasn't really like going with the environment. It was kind of just depressing. It was really depressing. So I was like, if you let me, I have music of my own that I can play. And I had my computer there, like all my software and everything, and it was great. And I set my stuff up. I connected. I had this big speaker. That I brought from home, and I connected that to like the cafeteria system and everything. And I started playing music that first day, and at the end of it, everybody was just coming to me saying, hey bro, your stuff is so good, like you make this like cafeteria feel more alive. That was like the best feeling for me especially, because like I've been making all this music in my room, and it was the best feeling that I've ever felt, really. And well, yeah, it's just a great place for people to just find who they're supposed to be. It really is. So I thank these guys so much, because they brought me out from that darkness, from me just being in my room. They brought me out, and they made me a better person. And to be honest, it feels like a second family. It really does. It really does. So thank you so much.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate you, man. Miguel's awesome. He dove right in, give him a platform, use his gifts and passions, and it really did. It made a huge difference in the program. In the video that I'll email out later, you'll see more of those kinds of stories and testimonies. The After Hours ultimately is 60% of what we do as an organization. Our desire is to see it expand in every middle school and high school in Central Texas. We get calls at least monthly from organizations all around the nation saying, how do we do this in our city? Because our heart is to open source it. We want people to just take the model and run with it. We're not looking to have to brand everything. We know it works. We know it's impacting. And so we just need it in more hands. We need more people coming alongside and supporting this and helping us expand into new territories. So, but you know what? When Miguel, and as Miguel graduates, these teens, young adults graduate, the needs don't shift very much. It's still identity, purpose, belonging. Where am I going? Right? You know, where do I fit in? The vast majority, over 60%, are not going to go to college right off the bat. And even when they do, of those enrolled in college, right now, maybe 40% of those actually graduate with a degree. Maybe. So it leaves an enormous amount of these 18, 20 to 20-somethings in this kind of vacuum of, what am I good at? What should I do? Should I go to school? Where's the direction in my life? And so enter in environments that can help foster direction, give people opportunities to use their gifts and passions, be a community, be, as Miguel said, the family that they haven't had. Now you have a support system. And that's what you're sitting in the middle of right now with Equinox. We took our young adult programs and we merged them, and we said, we're going to create, it's Austin, we're going to create an outdoor live music venue, God willing, and Anderson Terrace gave us the opportunity to do it, that young people can come to, 18 up, teens, we got high schoolers, it doesn't matter, but they can come and they can relax, they can connect, they can grow spiritually, personally, and professionally. All three. One doesn't have to be exclusive to the other. All three together. And that's what we do here. When we do National Day of Prayer, for those of you who will stay after for it, you'll see our modern way of going about it, because ultimately, I'll tell you, this is the next generation of church. This is a new form of church for young people that are saying, I'm not into the traditional come, listen to 3 songs, hear someone speak for an hour, and then, leave. I'm looking for something different. And this is the different. Now, I do believe that this is going to be a bridge to more traditional churches, but they got to start somewhere. And so we're creating this environment, and we're inviting musicians, we're inviting artists, writers, thinkers, people that want to come, that consider, like most of Austin, themselves spiritual, but not necessarily Christian, to come be a part and grow and connect. And so that's what we're doing here with Equinox. And finally, in the third leg of what we're doing, which you can read more about in the brochures online, we notice that we're obviously not the only ones that have a heart for teens and young people. Churches and businesses do too. Businesses are trying to figure out, how do I get young people to work for me and stay? Churches are trying to figure out, how do I get young people to just come and stay? How do I reach them? And so we realize that a large part of what we need to do is help churches and businesses understand how they're wired and connect. And reach outside the walls and recruit and train and create environments that young people want to come to. So that's a large part of what we're doing. The foundation of all this is the Purpose Project and some of the curriculum. So before you leave, you want to check out the table in there. You want to grab a copy of our latest book, and you want to grab this little black square card, which will give you access to the Purpose Project online. I want to invite one more person up to share real quick about some of the partnerships, because as we expand, we know we can't do this alone. And Williamson County has been huge for us. This has been a great partnership, because what they're doing and the way they're thinking in terms of how we really serve and handle at-risk teens, guys, it's different. It's not the norm. They are innovating. They are trying something new, and it's exactly right, and it's working. So you guys help me welcome Brooke Hall up real quick. Brooke, if you'll come up here. Now, I know Brooke sees a lot of what I've been seeing out there with young folks. She's a field services administrator at Williamson County Juvenile Services. So Brooke, if you want to take a minute just to kind of share about our partnership, why we connected in the first place, some of the things that you're noticing, and whatever. So, give you that.
I have to follow him. Jeez. So just a little bit about me. I've been working in probation for about 14 years. I'll celebrate 12 years with Williamson County on Saturday. We've been working with at-risk kids, and we changed the philosophy on how we work with kids and what our case management looks like. Before, it was they did something wrong, and we make them follow rules and get them through the court process. Now we get to know the kid. We want them to find their spark. Catalyst calls it passion. And get them connected to their community so that they leave stronger than when they came into our services. The Search Institute has research out that says that when a kid knows what their spark is and has adults that support it, they're more likely to be socially competent and physically healthy. They're more likely to have a sense of purpose. They're more likely to have higher grades in school and better attendance. And they're also more likely to volunteer and help other people. So there's research that supports that type of case management and what we do. About a year ago, we started working with Catalyst on our family nights, where we get families out in the community. Businesses and restaurants in the area support those nights and provide donations so that we can serve the families on that night. Catalyst came out and talked about their program and helped those kids, find a little light in a day and help them find some connections to passion and spark and what they want to do. They partner with us on conferences to educate other organizations in Williamson County about what they do and how this generation works and how to reach them. We've partnered on Hopewell as our most recent activity. We had the opportunity with some grant money to help fund part of it, the after-school program at Hopewell. Our relationship with Catalyst has been awesome, and we're so excited about the future and how this relationship is growing, because we believe what they're doing is reaching our kids and helping them be better people and have a better sense of they made a mistake, but they can be somebody and they have a purpose, and we want to help them find that so that they can carry on in their life, and Catalyst is helping us do that.
Thank you so much. By the way, at this point, you're funding that whole school. I just want you to know that. No, hopefully we can expand that to another school here in the fall. So here, I'm going to wrap up because we're going to transition to our Equinox National Day of Prayer. Before I do, I'm just going to tell you, here are the three things. For those of you who are wanting to know more, I know, hey, I'm free for coffee. Let's go sit down and let's talk. All right? I want you to fill out the form. When you walked in, you've got a little white envelope. That's your contact information, right? That's the things that you're interested in, the things that are on your mind. It could be a comment. It could be a lot of things. I would love it if you guys would fill that out and leave it at the table in the front before you go. So here's where we're focusing. Here's where we're at as an organization. One, our goal primarily, we have three strong goals right now. One is we need to perfect and expand this after hours model. We have this thing almost down to a science in that it's really costing anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 for the entire year to run this program at a school. When I run the numbers, first of all our financials are online. You can look them up. We don't hide anything. We're gonna reach close to 2,000. We're gonna serve close to 2,000 people this year, and our operating budget is $180,000. Guys, that makes us one of the most efficient nonprofits on the planet. I mean, that doesn't, yeah, you're clapping, but I'm also panicking inside because that can't stay the same. I mean, but that's what's happening right now, because it literally costs $3 a month. You can sponsor a kid in our after hours program for an entire year, $3 a month. That's ridiculous. That's why this model is scalable. That's why almost anyone can do it and get behind it. But we're at a point where we got to have more champions in the community. We just don't have enough. And so we need people to come to the after hours program, see it for themselves, and volunteer. If you're thinking, I can't work with teens and young adults, you'll be surprised what you can do. You can run a free class. You can teach them how to do a lot of different things. For any skills that you have can translate into a class. Maybe your greatest skill is listening, and showing up and hanging out and playing cards is huge. Hanging out and watching them doodle at the art table and just encouraging them is huge. Checking them in and saying, hey, I'm glad you're here today is huge. We need that kind of help. We literally do. We're outnumbered. We need at least 3 times the amount of volunteers that we have to keep up with the amount of students that are in these spaces saying, I want someone to give me attention. That's one. That's the after hours program. Okay? 2, you have this program here, Equinox. So maybe you're thinking, teens maybe scare the hell out of me. Young adults are a little bit better. This is the environment for you. Come, hang out, connect with some of our young adults. Maybe you want to cook a meal, because we're talking about a generation that most of them don't know what sitting down at the table and having a dinner with mom and dad and everybody present. Those things haven't been around in our society in a long, long time. And so when we create that as part of the environment here at Equinox, it means something. It matters. It matters to have that fresh aroma of food coming out that kitchen because people have served it. Maybe you're here to listen, to pray, to give career advice, to talk. Because there isn't a single person that will come here that's not wondering, am I on the right path? And they're all working jobs that they're overqualified for, by far. But no one stepped in yet and told them, no, you can do much better than this. We need folks that can do that. You know, one of the goals, the second goal, after hours was one. The second goal here is we recognize that the biggest need that we have is we need to create a space that's our own. We've been mobile for 6 years. But man, there's so many students in the schools, so many students we meet elsewhere that say, man, I wish you guys had a place that I could just come to and drop in on, like a home, like a family. And so in our heart for years now has been to open up a coffee shop, a live music venue. And we've been close so many times. In fact, we currently have a donor that's earmarked $100,000 and said, when you have the opportunity to open up, this money is yours. And that almost gets us there, but we don't have a space. And when we do, guys, our goal is to have a 24/7 space. Yeah, it's part coffee, it's co-work, it engages the community, it has live music at night, it's running classes and free classes 24/7. That's what we are going to do, God willing, and I know God likes to work through us. He's not going to just drop it out of the sky, He's going to work through humans. And so that's the second goal that we have, we're praying for and hoping for, because that is going to be our next biggest game changer. And then last but not least, as you can see with the book and the workshops and other things, if you've ever been on our website, we need to diversify and increase our revenue. Because I'm not a fundraiser. If I was a fundraiser, there'd be 500 of you here and not like 40, right? I'm terrible at fundraising. But what I can do is I can teach, I can educate, I can speak. And every time we sell a book, every time someone hires me to do a Myers-Briggs class or come do a workshop at their church, that money goes straight to Catalyst. Not to my bank account, straight to Catalyst, because we're diversifying our income. And that's the other thing that we're focused on this year. So when we look at after hours, Equinox, there's a million different ways to get involved behind the scenes. We need people that can help with social media. We need people that might be willing to join our board to help do administration. Right now, we're trying to push the book out to organizations all throughout the nation. But it's an admin-heavy job. It's easy. It just takes someone willing to sit in front of a computer and look up people and send them emails. And we've got a system for it, but we need folks to help us with that. You know, we need marketing support. We need musicians. If you have a gift or a passion, I promise you we'll find a place for you. So before you leave, as you leave, is my last, again, ask here, is that you consider, I know you've already been thinking about, oh, I know so-and-so should have been here. Well, they weren't. We're going to try to film it and give it to you so that you could use it to share with them. But you know what? Invite so-and-so to lunch and have me there and let's talk. Let's do it that way. Let's network, let's connect, because you can sign up to give in a lot of different ways, time, talent, treasure. Obviously, financially, we need support more now than ever, and if you're committing to $3 a month to sponsor a student, let's start there. Last year, we had 76 people donate to Catalyst. We're not a massive organization. We're reaching a massive amount of people, but we're not a massive organization. But with your help, we can close that gap and find the resources that we need to take it to that next level. So whatever you can give financially, whatever you can give with your talent, time, it matters. It really does. Final thank you for everybody that came tonight. I really appreciate you guys coming out, being here. Our team is going to take about 10 minutes max to reset up this environment for National Day of Prayer. And so if you're going to, I encourage you to stay. If you can only stay for 10 minutes of it, stay for 10 minutes of it. You'll dig what we're doing here. We're going to be doing that. There's a ton of food inside, drinks, restrooms are in there, and then I'll be floating around if anybody has any questions and wants to talk to me. Thank you again for being here. I appreciate you.